The first 5 questions, what do they deal with? Error location. So we'll start with the first sentence. High unemployment begets, underline the word begets. High long-term unemployment. What do you understand from the context? It brings or it gets or it results in. High unemployment begets high long-term unemployment, which forces people into prematurely retirement. Now, where is the error? There is an error in the fourth part. First, you underline the word retirement. Which part of speech is retirement? Please write noun. And the word which comes before a noun, which part of speech is it? Adjective. But here the word is in which form? Adverb form. Here the word is right, but the form is not correct. So please strike off ly, premature retirement. Prematurely is adverb, premature adjective. The word is absolutely right. What is the problem? Please make a note. The question is related to what? Word form. Quite often they ask questions related to word forms. How many of you have got this one right? Okay. Question number 2. The social networking giant is planning to introducing. Introduce or introducing? So a question like this, you don't have to read the complete sentence. You can save your time and energy, but I will read out. It's my responsibility. So the social networking giant is planning to introducing a dislike button, but is worried that it will become a way to demean people. Underline the word demean. Demean means what? To insult or to look down or to consider someone inferior. Any of these words. Demean, discourage, you could also use the word, but generally it means to look down, to consider someone inferior. So where is the error here? The second part, to introducing is not correct. To introduce, please strike off ing and write the letter E, introduce. So to introduce, which part of speech is it? Is it a verb? Verb. Is it finite or non-finite? Difficult to answer. Non-finite. Non-finite, 3 types. Bare infinitive, present infinitive, perfect infinitive. This one, to plus verb, we call it present infinitive. Please make a note. The question is related to present infinitive. Present infinitive. Sometimes students wonder, why does Murthy sir talk about the technical terms? Last year, you won't believe, 2 exams, they gave questions like this. They gave a sentence, they underlined one word, then it is mentioned the underlined word is a pronoun. Which type of pronoun is it? Reflexive, personal, indefinite, distributive, possessive. That means important or not important. You have to learn the technical terms. You never know how they ask the question. In future, you may get a question where they give to introduce, underline that, they ask you which part of speech is this, one possibility, or they ask you which type of infinitive is this, bare infinitive, present infinitive, perfect infinitive. Then you should be in a position to answer. So nothing wrong in learning, you never know how they're going to ask. But please make a note, the question is related to present infinitive. Sweaters and jackets were replaced. You have to stop me immediately. Will you say were replaced or replaced? Now here, when you read this clause, were replaced, which tense is that? Past tense, active voice or passive voice? So please make a note, past tense, passive voice. What is the sentence in active voice? They replaced sweaters and jackets. They replaced, then what? How does it change to passive voice? Sweaters and jackets were replaced by them. By them we don't mention, it's understood. Easy one, should not be a problem. Shall I move on to the next one? Even today, the average household income is lower than what it was when recession ends. Now here, please underline the first verb. What is the first verb here? Is lower than. One clause, it is in present tense. But it doesn't mean that every time you have to use the next clause in present. There is something called sequence of tenses. Based on the idea, sometimes what happens, some sentence is in present, in the same, some clause is in present, in the same sentence, another clause goes into the past, based on the meaning of the clause. Now here the second clause, please underline what it was. What it was, present or past? Now the context is past, the second clause is about past. Then will you say when recession ends, or will you say when recession ended? So where is the error? Fourth part, ends is not correct, please change it to ended. Even today the average household income is lower than what it was when recession ended. Clear? How many of you have got this one right? Okay. Please make a note, past tense related, based on the clause. One clause is in present, the other clause is in past tense. The government defines part-time workers as those whose working hours average less than 35 hours a week. This is a bit difficult. The government defines, do you find any error? Please take a pause. Defines what or who? Defines part-time workers as what or as who? Those whose working hours, please underline those whose working hours. After that you have to see a verb, less than 35 hours a week. Now what do you find between these two underlined units? Are you guys listening? What do you find? One word, what is it? Average. Now tell me which part of speech is it? In this context, it is a verb. What is it? It's a verb. Please make a note. That is the reason why I have read out the previous unit and the next unit. Generally, you take it for granted. When you see the word average, you think it is a noun. But here, those whose working hours, you are supposed to use a verb. Do you find verb anywhere? When you start here and stop here, where is the verb? Those whose working hours, there is no verb. Less than 35 hours a week, there is no verb. Without a verb, can you expect a clause? Then you are left with only one word, common sense. Which word is that? Which part of speech is it? It's a verb. Now in this clause, what is the subject? Please underline working hours. Is it singular or plural? Plural. Then average, right or wrong? That means there is an error or there is no error. How many of you have chosen the fifth option, no error? I appreciate all those students. Perfect. There is no error. But usually what happens is, please put a star mark. A sentence like this, not easy to spot the error, not easy to say no error. What is the reason? Generally we use the word average as a noun. For the first time you must have come across the word average, a verb. Then you don't know how to read the sentence, you get a little confused and you go off the track, then you cannot spot the error. Very simple. Nothing to worry, a tough question. So who has got all the 5 correct? Anyone? That's very good. I see a few hands. The next 5 questions, what do they deal with? Double fillers. All depend on contextual awareness, 1 or 2 grammar knowledge. Shall I read out question number 6? Word is. There are 2 possibilities. We'll take the first blank, we'll decide. Word is near. If you are good at everyday English, conversational English, contextual English, or situational English, you have an idea what is the word that goes with this context. It is definitely not the word near. Please strike it off. Word is out. Generally we say word is out. It is possible. Hold that one. Word is here. No, we say that. Everyday English, that's what I said. Word is here. That is also in usage. Hold that one. Word is about. But there is a comma, there is a pause. Then you cannot use the word about. Please strike it off. Word is everywhere. That is also possible. Word is everywhere. Now we will see based on the second word we have to decide. Word is out, comma, pause. Other cards will also be required in the near future for making passports. Grammatically right, contextually right. Hold this one. What is the third option? Word is here. What is that word? Other cards will also be necessary or necessarily? Necessary, but they have given the word necessarily. That means you cannot consider the third option. Strike it off. One more option, what we thought? Everywhere. Word is everywhere. Other cards will also be main in the near future. Is it right? Now, based on that, what is the answer? The second option is the answer. Word is out. What is that word? Other cards will also be required in the near future for making passports. Very simple. After receiving the award, the singer, the audience to an impromptu, please underline the word impromptu. Write the meaning of that. Impromptu means without any preparation, on the spot, without any preparation. Also write the word spontaneous. Spontaneous. Generally, because the context is music, singing, we use words like impromptu, spontaneous. But imagine it is about a presentation, it is about a speech, and it is about public speaking. Then we don't use the word impromptu, and we use the word, please write the word extempore. You have got it already. Write the word extempore speech. Write the combination word speech, extempore speech, without any preparation. Meaning is the same. When you say impromptu, no preparation. Extempore, spontaneous, no preparation. But the word combinations are different. Impromptu goes with performance. What is the next word here? Performance. That is a combination. And extempore goes with a speech, a presentation. After receiving the award, the singer, the audience to an impromptu performance of her most renditions related to her work. Now we'll take each pair. After receiving the award, the singer delighted. Underline the word delighted. Perfect word, delighted. Means what? Make someone very happy. Write the meaning of that. Delight someone. Delight someone means make happy. Write the another form, delightful. What is the adjective form? Delightful. Delight is a verb, and it's a regular verb. Delight, delighted, delighted. We can use a past participle as an adjective, delighted. The first word is perfect. We'll see the second word. The audience to an impromptu performance of her most great renditions. Is it right? So please mark it wrong. Mark it wrong based on what? The second word, great. After receiving the award, the singer, here the verb should be in present or past. Are you guys attentive? Yes, sir. This comes out very loud. It should be in present or past. Past. But the verb here, feast could be a verb, could be a noun. Feasted, a verb, regular verb. But is it in the past form? No. So straight away, strike it off. Second pair based on the first word. Clear? After receiving the award, the singer caught the audience. Why will he catch? Or why will she catch? Not correct. Mark it wrong. Treated. What is the fourth option? Treated the audience to. That seems perfect. Treated the audience to an impromptu performance of her most memorable renditions. Generally songs, music. What is the word we use? Memorable. Seems right? Hold that one. After receiving the award, the singer attached the audience. Is that right? No. Strike it off. Now what is the answer here? The fourth option, treated the audience to an impromptu performance of her most memorable renditions. Shall I move on to the next one? Until now, remote controls. Until now, no punctuation. Please remove that full stop. Until now, remote controls on batteries, please underline the preposition on, to send signals, but the eco remote its electricity from the physical movement of pressing its buttons. Context is related to a gadget. What is a gadget here? A remote control. Now, the preposition on, it goes with depend on, rely on. Immediately you have to recollect those two verbs. Until now, remote controls depended on, seems right. And what is the second word? But the eco remote removes its electricity. Is that the right word? So mark it wrong based on removes. Relied on, that is also perfect. Relied on batteries, but the eco remote draws its electricity. Please underline the word draw, draws. It has got two different meanings. Please write the meanings of the word draw. One goes with, first to write the word draw, brackets you write painting, related to painting. And write the combination draw a landscape, draw a picture, draw a landscape or draw a picture. That is a primary meaning, typical meaning of draw. But draw has got another meaning. Please write the second meaning, to pull. One meaning to pull, P-U-L-L, pull. Another meaning to extract, to extract. Now write one everyday English combination. Please write draw water from the well. Draw water. You draw water from a well. Here draw water from the well or from a well. What does it mean? To take water out, to harness, to extract, to pull. So here electricity from the physical movement means what? It takes, draws, take, pull, or to take out something. Seems right or wrong? Right, hold that one. What is the third option? Until now, remote controls stayed on. Can you say stay on? Not relevant in this context, mark it wrong. And counted on. You can count on me. That is also the right word. Please write depend, count, rely. All are synonyms. You could use, you can count on me. Means what? You can depend on me. You can rely on me. Write the expression, count on someone. Don't think because you are all prospective bankers, count means only one fixed idea. What is it? Count the currency notes. It has got other meanings. Count on means depend on. So what is the option number 4? Counted on batteries to send signals, but the eco remote get or gets. So grammatically it is not correct. Mark it wrong based on the word get. Survives, survived or survives? So what is it? Not correct. Now what is the answer based on that? Relied on batteries, one thing, and draws its electricity from the physical movement of pressing its buttons. Perfect. Question number 9. Even as the economy is in a steady, this is a bit difficult, please put a star mark. In a steady, the number of young people considered being disconnected from the economy or school system has hardly. Now it's a bit difficult to understand the context. You have to read this sentence once or twice, still it is difficult. So we'll check with the options. Even as the economy is in a steady downturn. Now here he is talking about a contrasting situation. So downturn, descent, but the second blank has hardly. Please underline the helping verb has. Then which part of speech are you supposed to use? A verb. Which form are you supposed to use? Past participle. But the word descend, is it in the past participle form? So you can simply ignore the first pair. What is the reason? Underline the word descend. And what is crashed, hold that one, shaken, hold that one. All of the you can consider. Now we'll see the second option. Even as the economy is in a steady revival, the number of young people considered being disconnected from the economy or school system has hardly crashed. Difficult to understand, hold that one. What is the third one? Upturn. Even as the economy is in a steady upturn, and the second blank is what? Has hardly shaken. Underline the word revival, upturn, and fourth option, in a steady renewal. Can you use the word renewal here? So mark it wrong. And what is the fifth option? A recovery. Underline the word recovery. Now you have to decide based on the first option, because shaken, fallen, crashed, more or less the same. You cannot decide based on the second word. In a steady revival, in a steady upturn, in a steady recovery, which is the apt word. Generally, economy, you use the word recovery. Recover from recession. Please write one expression. Recover from a recession. You all know the word recession. Recession means what? Low economic activity. A recession. Recover from a recession. And what is the second word? Has hardly fallen. It hasn't fallen, has hardly fallen. What is the meaning of that? Hardly fallen, positive or negative? Negative. It means it has not fallen. Now what is the answer based on that? The fifth option. How many of you have got this one right? Oh, I appreciate. I see a lot of hands. But I feel it's a bit difficult. You got to read 2 or 3 times. This is easy but tricky. Question number 10. The Ebola virus from person to person through direct with infected body fluids. Spreads. Virus, usually we use the word spreads. So hold that one. But what is the second word here? From person to person through direct touch with. Does it sound correct? No, mark it wrong. Virus tours. Does it tour? So please mark it wrong. This is not the right word. Travels. This also I'm not convinced, but hold that one. Sometimes we use, but the typical word is what? Spreads. And travels, perhaps. Travels from person to person through direct contact with. Contact with, it sounds perfect. So hold that one. Moves from person to person. We don't use the word moves. So mark it wrong. Direct approach also not correct. Shifts from person to person. Direct connection, not the right word. Now what are you left with? The third option, travels, not convincing, but the second word is perfect. What is the second word here? Direct contact with infected body fluids. Perfect. When you have no choice, you have Hobson's choice, you have to choose that one. So what is the answer based on that? The third option is the answer. But they should have used travels over there, spreads over here. Imagine they have used a third option, spreads, contact. First option, travels, touch. So you reject the first option, and the third option becomes what? The virus, Ebola virus, spreads from person to person through direct contact. That's a perfect sentence. Is that the last one? Anyone, all the 5 correct? That's very good. I appreciate. Now, the problem. What is the problem? Parajumble. How many sentences? 6. 6 sentences. And not short sentences, lengthy sentences. Most of them. But this is an easy one, in my opinion. Provided you have the knack of looking at the sentences. The framework of this particular parajumble, 3 ideas, and each idea 2 sentences, 3 pairs. Now we'll change the approach today. We'll not take the elimination approach. First we'll see the pairs. Is it okay? So please, first you underline, in the new landscape, please underline F. What is it? In the new landscape of labor market, jobs are easier. Please underline the expression, jobs are easier to come by. Also underline the expression, to come by. But ours remain in short supply. So what is this sentence about? You have to respond, because today I'm going to take a different approach. So what is the key expression this sentence is about? Jobs are easier. What is it? Jobs are easier. Now where do you see the same information? Now all of you go to C. What do you see here? Please underline this easy availability of jobs. First sentence, I'm not talking in terms of numbers. First we'll see the pairs. So easy to get jobs, easy availability of jobs. Are they related or not? So make a note, F and C one pair. First you will see the pairs. What is the last sentence? F. F and C one pair. Please make a note. Now we'll see, if you take D, despite this positive news, there is a gnawing fear. Underline the word fear. What is the clue for you? The word fear. In some other sentence, you see the word fear. Where do you see? And the reason for this fear, please underline this fear. Now, which two sentences form a pair? D and A. Please make a note. D and A. Now you are left with two more sentences. Now go to E. Underline the word polarized. Polarization means dividing into two major groups, like South Pole, North Pole. Only two groups, distinct groups. Then we use the word polarized or polarization. So where else do you find the word polarize or polarization? Please underline, go to B. This polarization. Hope you are underlining this polarization. So what is the third pair? E and C. E and B. Now you got three pairs. Easy to get the pairs. First job is done. Now what is your job? Get the correct order. Now it talks about three ideas. One idea, it talks about the positive news. What is the positive news? It's easy to get jobs. And the second idea talks about, related to that, there is a fear. And what is this fear about? Polarization. What is the third one? Polarization. So first, positive news. Second, negative news. And third, the impact of that, whatever. Three ideas. Now what should be the first pair? Positive news or negative news? So what is the first sentence then? Now we'll number. F is sentence number 1. What is sentence number 2? C is sentence number 2. Now he goes, generally writers, they present something positive, then they try to present negative or contrasting information. So what is the third sentence? Despite this positive news, there is a gnawing fear. So what is the third sentence? D is the third sentence. And what is the fourth sentence? Obviously, this fear. So fourth is what? A is the fourth sentence. Now what is the fifth? This polarization, that comes first or in the second position? Second position. So what is the fifth sentence? No, I marked it wrong, I think. One is, F is 1. No. C is 2. And what is the third one? Here I got it, no problem. What is 3? D is 3. What is 4? A is 4. Now what is the fifth sentence? E is 5. And what is the last sentence? Which one is that? This polarization. Easy or difficult? It all depends on how you read the options. Generally what happens, when you see something like this, the first reaction, you get a little scared, you get a little worried because the context is not easy to understand. And the context is not Indian context, perhaps it has been taken from the Wall Street Journal. Do you know the source? Please make a note. The Wall Street Journal, written in the year 2014. 2014 Wall Street Journal, that is a source. Remember, I have been telling you people to read The Economist, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. There's a reason why I tell to read something. So this one, unfamiliar context, and some words also, polarization. Not a familiar concept, difficult to understand. And it talks about employment, availability of jobs, and it talks about the hours based on the work. Let me ask the question, how many of you have got the correct order? See, please give them a big hand. We'll appreciate. It only shows that you are not aware of reading, how to read. And I use one word quite often when it comes to the passage, when it comes to close test, when it comes to spot the errors, when it comes to parajumbles. One thing is essential or indispensable. What is it? You have to read the sentences meticulously. Please write the word meticulous. All of you write the word meticulous. Write the meaning of that word. Meticulous means taking care of the minutest details. Taking care of the minutest details. Minutest, what is the spelling? M-I-N-U-T-E-S-T. Minutest details. Now, generally what happens, today also proofreading, it's a special job. If you take the newspapers, magazines, the main person is the editor. Then they have the writers. Then they have the designers. And besides all these, they have one particular post, proofreader. Proofreading is a special skill. Everyone cannot be a proofreader. What is the reason? 99% when we read very casually. We assume things. With that assumption, we skip certain words. We take certain words for granted. We assume and we think the word is something, but we take it as a different word. But proofreaders, they read meticulously. They don't leave one letter, one word. That is the reason why editors respect proofreaders a lot. What is the reason? Editing is not a tough job. It depends on intellectual ability, overall view regarding the article or the newspaper or the magazine. And writers, one writer, one article, not an uphill task. But proofreader has to read the entire magazine from the first letter of the first word to the last letter of the last word. Every word, every letter, he or she has to be meticulous. And it is not that easy. Now we belong to, are we proofreaders? No, we read casually. When we read casually, we take certain things for granted and we assume certain things. Imagine you have seen, those who haven't got the correct order, about 90%. Had they seen the key words, polarized, this polarization, fear, this fear, availability of jobs, 2 sentences. Then common sense, 3 pairs you have. What is the correct order? Common sense. First you talk about availability of jobs. The second sentence related to that. Third sentence talks about the fear. 2 sentences, third and fourth. And 5 and 6 talk about polarization, impact of polarization. So what is the big deal? Is it easy or difficult? Still you could not get it. What is the reason? Meticulous reading. So my suggestion here, 2 things are important for parajumble. And you can't afford to ignore or skip parajumbles. How many marks? Straight away 5 marks, but I'm damn sure CCE students will definitely get the first sentence. 1 mark is assured. You should worry about the 4 marks. And 2 things are important here. One is a prerequisite, something essential, meticulous reading, but that is not the end of it. How to get the broad framework, that is a major problem. A lot of students, I'm damn sure, a lot of students must have got the pace, not a big deal, and they must have fumbled or they might not have got the correct order. One of the reasons, you don't read a lot. Then when you don't read a lot, what happens? You're not aware of the writer's styles, one problem, how they present the information. You're not aware of the broad framework of a particular paragraph or a particular passage. This is very important. This is higher level. Then you ask the question, sir, how do we get this awareness? How do we develop the skill of getting the broad framework or getting the line of thought of the writer? When you read a lot, you have to read a lot. And do remember, if you take magazines, imagine there's a writer who is a specialist in writing science articles. He writes an article related to economy. He goes to a magazine, presents, the article will not be accepted. What is the reason? It's a specialist job. A science writer has a particular style. A person who writes about economy has a different style. He uses different patterns, different lexical terms, different word combinations, and different broad line of thought or framework. So here, when you read different magazines and different articles, you get exposed to all those styles. Then that will help you to catch the line of thought or the broad framework. When you don't do that, every time it is like you try, you may get success or you may fail. It's an open thing. It's an open question, may or may not. But in the exam, can you take chances? You cannot take any chances. So that is the reason why I keep telling, try to read international magazines at least once a week. And I don't say you have to read the entire magazine. That is not at all. I don't mean that. When I say you have to read international magazines like Economist, you have to read regularly, no choice. But once a week, 1 week you have to read the Harvard Business Review, one article. And next week you have to read Popular Science, one article. The third week you have to read Discovery Magazine, one article. And when you read, again, two types of reading. You read casually and you keep it aside, no use at all. But always read analytically. Ask yourself, what is this article about? How it has been presented, the information, what is the introduction, what is the body, what is the conclusion, what is the language, what sort of words have been used, easy or difficult. Analytical reading is very important. Please remember, now some students may not relate to what I say. They may find it very boring. It goes above the head. What is he talking about? But do remember, today the bank exams, especially if you take SBI PO, and you're all here for that, it is higher level. And today all the bank exams, they're going in the direction of CAT, Common Admission Test. CAT models are purely based on analytical reading, not based on grammar knowledge, not based on the spot you work on something. No. You got to have that skill. And when it comes to analytical reading, the toughest exam is GMAT. Have you heard of GMAT? So CAT, above that GRE, above that GMAT. GMAT is very tough. And you can't comprehend some of the passages. GRE also, a lot of convent-educated boys and girls, they find GRE passages very difficult. And you won't believe here how many words a passage, about 800 words. But GRE passages, hardly 200 or 300, and so difficult to comprehend. That is what we call standards. Do you understand what I say? Only 200 or 300 words, but they cannot answer the questions. And many engineering students, those who are good at English, they get good marks, quant, and English they get the minimum. Though they are good at English, though they are convent educated. One of the reasons that comprehension level is different, that vocabulary is entirely different. So banks also slowly they're going towards CAT model. So try to improve your proficiency skill, try to improve your analytical reading skill. How can you improve these two? By reading a lot, international magazines, not the local magazines. They won't help you. Shall I move on to the next one? So enough of lecture, we'll go to the next set of questions. Why I had to spend 5 minutes? Because a lot of students, they find parajumble a problem. Now slowly I create awareness. It all depends on meticulous reading, extensive reading of the international magazines. Some students go in that direction, then they get it right, sooner or later. So the next 5 questions or 10 questions, what do they deal with? This passage, what is it about? Related to you people or someone else? Financial inclusion and banking sector is involved. Yes. So in a way related to prospective bankers. That means students in front of me, right? Yes, sir. Now, I'll read out the first question. Question number 16. What is it? Which of the following is true according to the passage? Is it 16? The first option, the majority population in urban as well as rural areas does not have a bank account. Now, all of you please go to second page, go to the passage and go to the fourth paragraph. The fourth paragraph, the last sentence. I will do it slowly. Fourth paragraph, last sentence. Shall I read out? How does it go? In rural areas, 44% households, and in urban areas, 33% still don't have a bank account. That is majority or minority? Definitely not majority. So this option says what? The majority. So is it right or wrong? Mark it wrong. RBI has provided sanction to special banks for furthering the process of financial inclusion. Now all of you go to the second paragraph. Have you gone to the second paragraph? And the second sentence, very recently, it circulated for public comment 2 sets of draft guidelines for issuing licenses to payment banks and small banks. These are regular banks or specialist banks. Now, RBI has provided sanction to special banks for furthering the process of financial inclusion. Right or wrong? Mark it right. C. Close to 40% households in the rural areas don't have access to banking services. Now, already I've seen that paragraph, fourth paragraph, the last sentence. What does it talk about? In rural areas, 44%. I had to cross-check and I had to learn when it is 44, it is considered close to 40%. That expression is used. You all must be knowing that. So C is right or wrong? It is right. So B is right, C is right, A is not right. Which option says that? Fifth option, only B and C. Perfect. According to the passage, which of the following is not true? Please underline, not true. About the financial inclusion process. Convincing the stakeholders, underline the expression stakeholders, those with interest. Convincing the stakeholders of the need and efficacy of the process is one of the prime requirements for the process to succeed. Has it been mentioned? Yes or no? That means you haven't read the passage. Now, what is the question number, this one? 17. 17, just not true. No, these are very difficult, time-taking. There are 2 ways. You read quickly, and somewhere you find explicit information, you cross-check. If it tallies, you have to ignore. If it doesn't tally, it is not true. Now, all of you please go to the second page, the last paragraph, the first sentence. Only one line is there. What does it say? The latest inclusion plan will have as its focus households rather than geographical areas. Just remember that. Oh, not this question, I think. Now we'll see the second option. The focus of the latest action plan for the process will shift away from focusing on geographic areas. Is it true or not true? The focus of the latest action plan for the process will shift away from focusing on geographic process. It is true, but the question is what? So what is the answer? That is not the answer. What is the third option? The government's plan. First one have we got? Convincing the stakeholders of the need and efficacy of the process is one of the prime requirements. I feel it has been mentioned in the passage. Convincing the stakeholders of the need and efficacy of the process is one of the prime requirements for the process to succeed. I think that is also true. One is true, two is also true. The government's plan of action for the said process will be carried out in steps. That is also true. Even after setting up accounts for the customers, BCs, business correspondents, or consultants will necessarily have to be involved at every stage of the process. That has also been mentioned. Now, what is the fifth option here? All the given options are true according to the passage. So, what is the answer? The fifth option is the answer. But it's so it is not at all advisable, a question like this. Here it is okay. But my suggestion in the exam, don't touch questions like these. You need to spend a lot of time, and back of the mind you have some sort of disturbance. Is it right? Is it wrong? So not advisable. Always attempt simple questions. 5 options, only one is the answer. Shall I move on to the next one? Question number 18. Same meaning. What is the word here? Further. Now all of you go to the passage. What is the sentence in the second paragraph? These niche banks, underline the word niche. Niche means specific. Specific to a particular target group or a particular segment, market segment. These niche banks with lower entry-level norms than for normal commercial banks are meant to further inclusion. Please underline the word inclusion. Further inclusion. What do you understand? Generally, the word further, F-A-R-T-H-E-R, what is it? It talks about distance. F-U-R-T-H-E-R, what is it? Further. It means in addition to, one meaning. But here, further inclusion. It has been used as a verb. Here it means something like improve. Improve or increase. Now, what is the first option here? Ahead, not correct. Promote, include, promote, more or less the same. Further what? Inclusion means what? Promote inclusion. Seems right? Hold that one. Prolong. Prolong means what? Extend. Is it the right word here? No. Prolong, elongate, more or less synonyms, not relevant here. Distance, not relevant. So what is the answer here? Further here means promote, based on the context. Opposite in meaning. What is the word? Formidable. Now go to the passage. Where do you find it? The fourth paragraph. What is the word after that? Here it is an adjective. Formidable task. So what do you understand? Easy or difficult? Difficult. Formidable. First you write the meaning of formidable. Means very strong. Very strong. Also difficult. Very difficult. Formidable task means very complicated, very difficult. But generally it goes with opponent, enemy. Write 2 combination words. Formidable, opponent, opponent, and formidable, enemy. But here formidable task. So can you use the word peaceful? No. Alarming? No. Simple? Seems right? Hold that one. Robust. Robust means what? Strong. Creative. Not relevant here. So formidable, what is the opposite? Formidable task, simple task, easy task. Same in meaning, what is the word? Purview. Purview means scope. First you write the meaning of the word. Under someone's purview means what? Scope. Also write the words field, sphere, area, all these words. Purview, scope, field, sphere, area. Now he wants the same meaning. What is the first one? A realm. How do you pronounce it? A realm. A realm means all these words. Field, sphere, area. Scope. Seems right? Hold that one. What is the second option? Pressure. Not relevant here. Land. Not at all relevant. Kingdom. Not relevant. Protection. Not relevant. So what is the answer? The first option is the answer. Sometimes you have to take the elimination approach and you get the answer. Is that the last question? Some more are there. 21. Which of the following statements aptly describes? Please underline the word apt, aptly. Apt means what? Appropriate. the author's present view of financial inclusion. This question is a little difficult. First option, second option. Financial inclusion is and will always remain a distant dream for India, and any effort to bring it about will be inadequate. This is completely a cynical statement. Cynical, write the word cynical. What is the spelling? C-Y-N-I-C-A-L. Cynical means what? Negative, always negative. A cynical attitude, negative attitude. Writers usually they don't take a negative attitude, categorical negative attitude. No writer ever takes that stand. What is the second option? The traditional understanding of financial inclusion has now become obsolete. Underline the word obsolete. And a different approach needs to be adopted to bring it about. I think the first paragraph, the first line talks about the same idea. How does it start? There is a long history of financial inclusion in India. The second sentence, it has traditionally been understood to mean opening new bank branches in rural areas and unbanked areas. Nowadays, however, financial inclusion is seen to be something more. Same idea or not a different idea? Are you guys listening? So same or different? Same. So what is the answer based on that? It seems like the second option. Hold that one. The process of financial inclusion has witnessed tremendous success even in the past and will continue to be equally successful in future as well. Not correct. Because the last conclusion of the essay or the passage, he talks about there is a problem, and to sort out the problem, first we have to change the mindset of the banks, the government and the public. So this is not correct. RBI's current efforts at bringing about financial inclusion are inadequate and will probably not deliver the desired outcome. This also seems right. Inadequate, underline the word inadequate, and also probably, not a categorical statement. Now, other than those given as options, you have to decide between the second option and the fourth option. Fourth option is a little vague, but the second option clearly mentioned in the passage. So what is the answer based on that? The second option is the answer. I think there's a problem with the key. The key says the first option, if I'm not wrong, but not correct. The answer is the second option. Shall I move on to the next one? According to the author, which of the following is or are necessity or necessities for financial inclusion to succeed? Facilitating technology so that it plays a greater role in the process. This has been mentioned in the passage. Inclusion of members of the unorganized sector in the process. Mentioned in the passage in the form of the Kirana store and corporates. I don't know how they included corporates. That is the organized sector. Encouraging the target population to be a part of the process. This also, it has been mentioned. So what is the answer based on that? Which option says? The fourth option is the answer. All the three, A, B and C. 23, opposite in meaning. What is the word? Simultaneously. First, what is the meaning of the word simultaneous? At the same time. If at all you get confused between two words. One is subsequently, the other concurrently. Because together, not relevant, primarily not relevant, apparently, apparent means obvious, evident, not relevant. So if you know the meaning of the word, one of the two, you know the meaning of the word subsequent, you get the answer. You know the meaning of the word concurrent, you get the answer. Now let me ask the question, what is the meaning of the word concurrent? Same, both are synonyms, simultaneous, concurrent, synonyms at the same time. That means what is the answer? Subsequent. Subsequent means what? At a later stage, not at the same time, at a later stage. Subsequent, later. Simultaneous, same time. Concurrent, same time. Hope you got the answer. 24, which of the following can be the most suitable title for the passage? I think this also has a problem with the key. Financial inclusion, the road leading nowhere. That is again cynical and not acceptable as a title. Financial inclusion, its history. No. What ails the banking sector? Please underline the word ails. Ails means what? Troubles. Here in this context, what ails a particular industry means what troubles a particular industry, banking sector. What financial inclusion can do for India? The challenge of financial inclusion. He talks about the problems, the limitations, and he gives some suggestions. So what is the answer here? How many of you have chosen the fifth option? Perfect. The challenge of financial inclusion. Because whenever you see problems, it's a challenge. Very simple. And the passage concludes based on the challenges. What are the challenges? Changing the attitude of banks, government, and the public. 25, according to the governor of RBI, which of the following should financial inclusion entail? Underline the word entail. Entail means what? To have the right. Entail to something. Have the right. Entailment. To have the right. Now, all of you please go to the third paragraph. And it talks about, it starts with, recently the RBI governor outlined. Do you see that? And somewhere at the fag end of the paragraph, a safe place to save, a reliable way to send and receive money, a quick way to borrow in times of need, or to escape the clutches of the money lender, easy to understand life and health insurance, and an avenue to engage in savings for the old age, listed out by the RBI governor. Now we'll see the options. Allow the poor better access to credit. Yes, please respond. Yes, tick that one. Provide uniform services across different economic groups, adhering to the same strict KYC norms. This is not correct. What is the reason? All of you please go to the last paragraph. Here the option should be positive because the context is positive. RBI governor talks about financial inclusion. He talks about something positive. But in the passage, in the last paragraph, the writer mentions KYC, know your customer, and what is the sentence that talks about the negative dimension of that particular thing. Insistence on KYC, know your customer norms has hindered the opening of new accounts. Underline the word hindered. Hindered means what? Blocked. Is it positive or negative? Negative. That means B is right or wrong? You guys are not responding. Wrong. Mark it wrong. What is the third option? Provide an avenue for facilitating savings of the poor. Mentioned. So what is the answer? A and C. Which option says that? Third option. Only A and C. This is also time taking. You got to be very careful. Is that the last one related to the passage? Has anyone got all the 10 correct this passage? No one? 8 or 8 plus? Please give her a big hand. I see only one student. That's really good. I appreciate. Now we'll go to the last 5 questions. Last set, 5 questions. What do they deal with? Closed test. And what is the context? This again they must have taken from some international magazine like The Economist, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. It's all about German economy. Now imagine you are not prepared, and generally we are not good at Indian economy. How many of you read budget when they imagine they introduce a budget and next day you see all the newspapers all about budget? How many of you read that budget meticulously? Raise your hands. I see about 5 or 6, not more than that. It's quite natural. And Indian economy, we are not very good at Indian economy. It's a complicated thing. Now, can you answer questions related to German economy? Easy or difficult? Obviously. But still, you have to use your common sense, grammar knowledge, and knowledge related to word combinations. Then you have to decide. So this is about employment market in Germany. I'll start with the first sentence. In German eyes, strong exports and a big trade surplus are symbolic achievements. Underline the word surplus. Surplus means what? Excess. Excess. In German eyes, strong exports and a big trade surplus are symbolic achievements. but other countries are more impressed with Germany's employment record. So the whole paragraph is about employment. Please underline employment record. A decade ago, Germany had one of the joblessness scenarios. Now underline the expression joblessness scenarios in the rich world. Joblessness scenario, positive or negative? Then you have to use a positive word or a negative word. Negative. And that should be an adjective. Leading joblessness scenarios, is that the right word? Mark it wrong. Chief joblessness, no. Excessive, no. Lofty. Write the meaning of the word lofty. Lofty means very high. Very high. Generally it goes with everyday English, it goes with heights. Lofty heights, very high. But write one more combination, it goes with youngsters like you. Lofty goals. Goal. You know, you all know the word goal. I think some Telugu movie, one of the actors says goal means what? I don't remember the name of the movie. In that movie, a girl says, what is your goal? Then that fellow asks, goal means what? Which movie is that? Kerinta, that's right. So, now here, lofty goals means what? Noble, very good. So, that's a quite funny movie, so I remember. Lofty. We'll come back. What is a blank number? 26. So, lofty is a very good word. You all have lofty goals. That's why you are here and you are listening to me. Lofty goals, essential to come up in life. And what is the last word? There's only one negative word. Which one is that? Worst. And the context is negative. Worst joblessness scenarios in the rich world. So, answer is the fifth option. However, today's unemployment rate of 5.4% using OECD figures is one of the in Europe. If you understand the context, easy. One of the humble, no. One of the inadequate, it doesn't talk about quantity. Lowest, hold that one. Depleted. Deplete means what? To use up something. It goes with resources. Please write the word deplete and also write the meaning, to use up, to use something a lot. Another meaning, to make something thin, to make something thin, T-H-I-N, thin. And write the typical combination, depletion of ozone layer, depletion of ozone layer. It also goes with resources. Now, scarce, scarce also means shortage, inadequate. Now, what is the answer here? 5.4% is one of the lowest in Europe. Unemployment, that is the lowest. Answer is the third option. Youth unemployment, which is below 8%, is half that in America, and a third of the European average. A rule is not correct, characteristic is not correct, emblem doesn't go with this context, mainstream doesn't go with this context. So, half that in America, one expression, and a third of the European average. So, how many of you have got first option right, average? That's very good. It is also the least that Germany has seen for 20 years. This is not the result of booming growth. Nope, they shouldn't have used a full stop. This is not the result of booming growth the past decade. Here there's every possibility. First we'll reject a growth nearly the past decade, no. Whereas the past decade, no. Although, no. You have to decide between since the past decade, over the past decade. If you're not attentive, you get tempted to choose since. But based on the context, what is the answer? Over the past decade. Booming growth over the past decade. Is that the last one or we have one more? Germany's economy has an average grown more slowly than that of America or Britain and not faster than the Eurozone as a whole. but Germany managed to avoid a surge of, underline the word surge. Surge means a sudden forward movement. A sudden forward movement. Sudden forward movement, generally it goes with, right, persons, group of people, suddenly they move forward, surge. It also goes with waves, water body, sudden forward movement of tidal waves, surge of waves. It also goes, what is the context here? Surge of what? Pay, resignation, manufacturing, layoffs. Here it talks about, you have to read the complete sentence. After the financial crisis, and has done far better than others at getting the young and the hard to employ into work. So work-related pay is not correct in this context. Resignation, manufacturing, welfare. One word is relevant. Which word is that? Layoffs. Because it talks about Germany did not go for layoffs, it got the youngsters to work. So Germany managed to avoid a surge of layoffs after the financial crisis and has done far better than others at getting the young and the hard to employ into work. Has anyone got all the 5 correct? I see a lot of hands, not too many, but that's appreciable. Very good, I appreciate. How many of you have got 20 plus this paper? 20 plus.